Hi, this is Jim Cranston from 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com, the podcast and website by, for, and about your life reimagined. Thanks for joining me tonight for more on recreating our future. So let's get started. So if you like what you hear tonight, please leave a like, hit that bell, and to subscribe and tell your friends or drop me a note. And there have been some questions from people who recently joined asking for an overview of the whole process again. So I'd planned to do that this evening. However, sometimes life just gives us unexpected opportunities, right? They're not challenges, they're always opportunities. So, as I mentioned, I'm taking Spanish lessons again, and they conflict with the broadcast time for this. So, I normally pre record on Mondays for the past couple of weeks. So, this will broadcast on time. But Monday, yesterday, just went completely off the rails. It was just one of those days. But no problem, I said. I'll do it Tuesday during the day. Well, Tuesday, Monday made Monday look absolutely calm. Today was just it was a spectacular day in many ways. Plus, my car is at the garage for an extra day, so I didn't have any way to go anywhere, but still no problem. I'll borrow my sister-in-law's car, which she said was fine, and I did. And then I'll leave my Spanish class promptly, and I'll do the live right after, right? It seems so clear how this is all going to work out perfectly. So then after class, I went down and got my borrowed car, and the battery was just dead completely. It's partially my own fault. I was working in the car for about an hour and a half with the engine off before I went to class, and apparently it wasn't a new battery, and it was just enough to make it tired enough to not be able to start the car. However, this is where it's up to you yourself to look for the good in a situation, right? I could have been mad or annoyed, but by trying to stay neutral, I ended up meeting a really nice stranger, a guy named Devin, who offered to drive to his house, get jumper cables, and drive back to start my car so that I wouldn't possibly be stranded. All that would have taken him nearly an hour in total. We didn't know each other. We just met in the parking lot. He said, it's no problem. Just hang out, stay warm, go inside if you want. I'll be back with the jumper cables. Well, long story long. As it turned out, there were jumper cables in my car, and I caught Devin just before he left, and he did help me get the car started. But by staying positive, I got to meet this genuinely nice guy. And what he said was pretty interesting because we were chatting for a couple of minutes. Devin said he was tired of people who wouldn't do anything to help other people out when they were in need. And he decided he wanted to make a little difference in the world whenever he could. Think about that. Little tiny thing made a huge difference to me, made the whole day go a lot better, changed my attitude in a lot of things. I try and stay positive, but sometimes it gets really hard. Then you meet somebody like Devin, it's kind of like, don't get caught up in the news and all that. There's still a lot of really good people around. So although today went way differently than I had expected, it was a super positive experience. And it was all because I decided to just see what the world was going to bring me. You can't change the world, remember. You can only change your reaction to it. But that brings us to tonight. As I mentioned, I had planned to do a summary of the steps we had taken thus far, but as part of that, I had already gone back to generate the highlights of all the previous week's lives for the past few months. And we really have covered quite a lot. So instead tonight, I'm just going to do kind of a quick index of sorts of some of the prior week's highlights. And then, I'll try and get a real index put together so it'd be easier to search in the future because we have a lot more stuff we're going to be covering. And don't forget, of course, we're going to put it all together in our upcoming course, Your Future Transformed. But starting way back around Thanksgiving of 2022, yeah, we've been going that long on this topic. On November 29th, we did an initial discussion of SMART goals, and how to record them in a way that you'll really likely to remember them and internalize them. On December 6th, the following week, I answered a listener's question how to set actionable goals and how to help yourself keep them. Then on 12/13, the 20, and of course Christmas. So that whole latter part of December, we started off reminding our followers of why exactly I'm even doing all of this. And that's what was on 12/13. If you're interested, go back, take a listen to that. And then on the 20th, we did a reminder of how to keep your own space over the holidays and how to look out for your own well-being. I know holidays can be stressful for a lot of people, and so we suggest we do this on all the two major holidays in the U.S. on Thanksgiving and Christmas. How to remember, give yourself some grace and give yourself some own space. And then, of course, we did our Christmas message. On December 27th, we started in with how to imagine your future in such a manner that your brain naturally wants to help you reach your goals rather than trying to keep you stuck in your kind of safe present situation. Remember, we've talked about extensively how your brain is really afraid of change because you don't know what change might bring. If you stay what you're doing, if things are going okay, then what your brain looks at is from the standpoint of kind of like, things are okay. What do we want to change? Who knows? It might not be okay when we go a different direction. And so we talked about a way that by imagining your future, your brain kind of buys into it and will just pull you forward into the future that you want. We continue that on January 3rd of 2023. Happy New Year, by working to discover your life's purpose. Really important piece of the whole thing. It's great to have goals, but you want your goals to be consistent with your life's purpose. And so it's something that's kind of easily overlooked. We get, just by the way we're kind of trained in Western immediacy, that we want to try and set goals to get things done, but sometimes we forget to prioritize whether those goals are really leading us to where we want to be. I want to get a raise, but maybe you don't want to work in that company. Those sorts of things. That's what we covered on January 3rd. On January 10th, then a week later, we started to change our mission to serve not just baby boomers, but everyone who is interested in transforming their lives by setting and reaching their goals. Equally important, we talked more about the power of immersing yourself in your future success and then working backwards to the present. It makes it much easier for your brain to visualize how we can get through problems as they arise. On January 17th, we delved deeper into the envisionment, habits, and your brain's automations to handle the thousands of daily thoughts that we have. Remember, when we went through this the following week on the 24th, we all the time, the world gives us various stimulus. It could be anything from a sound, you hear a voice, music playing, anything that, a color, no matter what it is, somehow you get a stimulus from the world, and that stimulus then creates thought. And eventually, pretty quickly thereafter, and it does happen in this order, well, pretty much all the time. I think it is all the time, actually. There's a thought, and then the thought, we attach an emotion to it. And so that emotion can be kind of like music. I like music. Music, I don't like that song. There's always a thought that follows. There's always an emotion that follows that thought. And then how we eventually take those repeated stimulus, thought, emotion patterns, and if they've been consistent with each other, that becomes a pre-wired belief. And so every time now, when we see that stimulus, it kind of jumps over the thought and emotion process, and we just matched up with a pre-existing belief. And then, very importantly, we also touched on how a belief, which may have even been formed in childhood, maybe having nothing to do with what we're doing now, but a belief is typically far stronger than some short-term goal. And that's why willpower is really able to overcome a belief. You may recall we talked about this in terms of something like how candy or dessert or something may end up being a very positive thing for us because when we were children, and then now that we're adults, anytime a stressful situation arises, we look for that powerful method to get us relieved from the stress, and we end up associating food with stress relief. Just one example, there's an endless number of examples. So that's what we covered since Thanksgiving. Wow, it's really a lot of useful ideas and techniques in only a few weeks, and there's still a lot more to come. And again, like I said, this is all being assembled into an introductory course, Your Future Transformed, which will cover this and a lot more, but in much greater depth, right? We're kind of skimming the surface in all of this right now. And there's a lot of techniques here that you can use, not only for transforming your life on a grand basis, but even on a day-to-day way. And so again, we're going to go through all that a lot more over the coming weeks and then in our course. So that's it for the evening. Way different than I had planned on doing, but I wanted to spend some time with you, wanted to share that. And I hope you find it useful. If you have any questions on any of those particular steps thus far, you can always go back to the lives from those dates, take a listen. If there's anything you have questions on, shoot me a note. Be happy to walk you through anything in detail. So that's it for the evening now. And of course, as always, UKR7, the site of links to pages where you can make donations, that is still up, still active. At the top of that list, of course, is World Central Kitchen. That page, that group, all humanitarian work that they do. It's providing meals for people in need. They've served millions and millions of meals now across the world and also in the Ukraine in particular. So that's there. That is wck.org. And then you can just go to ukr7.com and find those links there. Remember, one of the best ways to care for yourself is to care for others. So if you can and you're able, please check it out at ukr7.com. And that's it Thanks for stopping by. We've covered things quickly, but I hope you found it useful. If you found something interesting and useful, please pass it along. Or remember, please hit that like button. If not, please drop me a comment as to what you'd like to hear. Have a great week, and and just remember that life gives you challenges, but those challenges are really opportunities, and it's up to you to interpret them in a way that lets you see the good things that are around in life. So remember to live the life that you dreamed of, because that's the path to true contentment. Love and encouragement to everyone, and see you next week on 7 Every Minute and 7everyminute.com. Thanks.